Hello everyone, this is Andy and I'm back with another video for you. Okay, so in this video what I'm going to go ahead and do is just summarize everything and make it very simple as far as the installation procedures and things that we need to do in order to get our game up and running with no issues. Okay, so let's go from the very top here. I made this little list here, and what this list here is designed for is just to basically take you step by step on things that you have to do in order to get the game up and running. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go from the top here. Step number 1 says download and install Final Fantasy. Here, so I recommend installing on an SSD. Just basically loads everything a lot faster. You'd actually download, and sorry, when you install, it's actually a lot faster too. But any hard drive would do basically. So next, download the server files or the source files, and so when you download the source files, I mean it's free from the Dark Star forums, so you won't have any trouble with any viruses or anything like that. Here, download Navicat. Just go really quickly. Download MySQL Server 5.6 or 5.7. 5.6 is actually a straightforward installation. 5.7, you have to go to the website that I created just to follow the steps and make sure everything goes smoothly, so we won't have any issues in the future with that. Download xiLoader, pretty simple 2 megabyte file there. Download the Final Fantasy setup files. I actually put these in the comments here. I just made my Google Drive. I just shared the files. So basically, let me go ahead and open that. So my Google Drive, and it's going to have the files here. So actually there are 2. Let me go back. So my Google Drive and the files are located here. Let's go ahead and okay. It's opening very slowly here. Just download it for myself. It's going to be listed in the comments here, so I should just skip to the next step here. Let me just go ahead and pop this open. Okay, so I'll just drag this over here. So what I did, I shared my Google Drive folder, and basically it's the Final Fantasy update patch. You'll see what we need these files for later, and the xiLoader. It's pretty simple. Just go ahead and follow those steps there. Sorry, just go ahead and download that there, and go down here. So xiLoader, we have those. The Final Fantasy setup files. This is basically the patch. And download Visual Studio, the community version. So here, so make sure you check the C++ development when you're prompted to install it. Or you cannot compile the game. Download Windower. I believe Windower 4 is the latest version, I believe. And install MySQL Workbench 8.0. So the default installation, don't make any changes. It's a straightforward installation. You're pretty much set. So going on to the next part here. So make sure all these steps are completed before you proceed to the next part here. So install Final Fantasy. You can install it in directory, but I recommend here I mentioned out of the 10, 15, I don't know how many times, 10, 15 times I actually set up my own server. I never had this issue where it had a write issue to my program files, but I just installed it on the same drive, just a standard D Play Online installation rather than the program files, and I had no issues with that write. So I had no write issues, so it's pretty strange to me. So you install the Play Online and the Play Online viewer in the same direction. Just please go to the video that shows how I installed it on the computer. You're gonna double click it, and it's gonna give you a prompt to install 1 of 3. You can check all 3 for. Let's go here. Let me go ahead and find that. It's very fast here. Like that. Okay, here. And this is from the, so okay, here. So you can choose either this one. Let's say you have issues installing Final Fantasy. You can always go back just to install that by itself. It's up to you. You can check all 3. I recommend all 3 to make sure you have the DirectX. If your DirectX is newer than what this is trying to install, it'll bypass that, so don't worry. Okay, that's pretty much that there. Continuing down the list here, Navicat, standard installation. Just make sure you write down a password. Actually, I meant username and password. So make sure your username and password, you write them down somewhere, and default IP address should be 127.0.0.1. And MySQL server, just make sure they correspond with each other, the same username and password. By default, I believe the name and password are both set to root. So if you want to change those, go ahead and change them, but just make sure you write them down because you will need them for later. Install MySQL. Just missing that. Visual Studio. Anyways, just follow this list here and unpack your source files for your Dark Star down. You can unpack into any directory that you like. To make it simple for yourself, I recommend installing it to a simple directory and just name it, for example, C Dark Star, and that will make it a lot easier for you to find and manage later on. And I also recommend, once you have the files on your computer, just right-click and make a copy of that file. before and after you compile the game itself. I recommend doing that. Okay, next, so once you completed all these steps here, you're going to go to the Play Online viewer. So go ahead and open that, click Existing User. Let me go ahead and just demonstrate that here. Go ahead and open this. It's going to pop. This is open my xiLoader. Let me go ahead and close this out here. Let's go ahead and go into my, not this one, this is my zips I just made for the game there, Play Online. Okay, it's gonna Square Enix. Let's go ahead and go to the viewer and go here. This is the xiLoader. This is my original Play Online file that I sometimes will have to open, so don't delete it. Okay, it's gonna open up here. Okay, make sure the music is off here. I don't want any copyright issues. Sorry about that. I was going to play some music there. Let's see. Have to open the mixer and turn the sound off. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what you're going to want to do initially is go ahead and go in here. Let me go back. You're going to have to go to, it's going to mention here, just go in here, go to, let's see here, go to add member, I believe. But it may, in the beginning, it may prompt you to do so anyway. So once you do that, just create, let's add a member here, just show you exactly what I mean. Add a username, you can add your own name, so any name, and then Play Online ID, you can just do 1, 2, 4, 5, doesn't matter, anything's okay, just make sure you enter digits, there are numbers, so you don't have any issues. So once that's completed, you're going to go into check files, and check files, as you see, mine pulls up here. I'm going to mention it down later in the comments here. Just make sure if you first come here and you actually see this, it may show unknown. Don't worry about that. That is normal. If it shows unknown, you're actually pretty lucky, because sometimes when we come here and we click here, you don't see this Final Fantasy here. You only see the Play Online viewer, because initially you need to actually go into the game itself, and then it creates some kind of file here, just telling the play online that you've actually logged into the game, and they're able to correspond with each other. Because usually when you on the actual game, the retail game, once you actually log in, you go into your password, everything, it connects to the actual server, then it's going to detect that there's something wrong, and you can update it within that menu. But we're actually going through the kind of menu within, not even actually logging in. So if you want to do that, so log in, let's just try this really quick. So if I log in, it's not going to actually connect. I don't have an account there. So you have to actually log in, then it updates, and then you're pretty much set. But we're going through the pretty much back way to get in there. So what you want to do is, if this is missing here, just go ahead and check files anyway, and then it should automatically complete your Play Online update. Or it may do that not actually here. It may do that even before you go into the check files. You might already have been prompted to update it. So go ahead and update it. Go ahead and just come back here, check it. If you're not seeing it here, close it. And then what you're going to do next is, so Play Online viewer, so left hand column, check files, open it. If it prompts you to update either Final Fantasy, so as I just mentioned here, you might see both here. If you see both, you're lucky. Just go ahead and click the Final Fantasy XI and try it. If that doesn't work, step 2, just go back. It's pretty simple. Let me go back here. Just go here, ROM 0, and delete or rename this one. You won't see this here. So this was the original one. As you see, it's the same size. I just deleted this one, because basically what it's going to do is going to force the game to update. So you go back into Play Online viewer. If that doesn't work, you're going to just download the files that I shared on my Google Drive, which is this one here. You're going to open this. Okay, it's not actually opening here for me, but you're going to open it and just drag all the files over from that zip folder into this one, into here, and these files here should be replaced here. You're going to see these files here, and that should pretty much be it. And you could try to run it again and Play Online if it doesn't work, but you may have to do this anyway. So what you can actually do, you can move those files, the patch files, into that folder. Also go here, right click this, right click data, and go here and just paste it. And then once that's completed, you should go back inside and you should have no problems updating it. Okay, so once all that is completed, If you have issues where you update everything and um, you may have some issue where you may see something like, oh, it couldn't refix it or it couldn't repair it. It's okay as long as it goes through the process and you have you know you have no errors in the play online itself where it forces you to close down play online. You're pretty much fine. Okay, so what you got to do after that is go into your source folder, your Final Fantasy source folder or Dark Star source folder. Okay, which mine is located here. Let me just go ahead and pop this open. Okay, this is just a copy of my actual game. So go in here, and what I want you to do is open this. And this here should match what your Play Online version shows. It may be slightly different. When I came here, my actual my Darkstar version was actually off, so I had to change this. And I don't know if this has to be set to 0, but just to be on the safe side, just set this to 0, so disable, so every version will be allowed to connect to your server. Okay, and that's it with that. Okay, after that, what you need to do is go ahead and open. Okay, I mentioned that here, so make sure it's set to make sure this is set to the version that you need. Okay, and that's it. And then what you're going to do next is go ahead and open your xiLoader if you haven't done it already. The steps you don't really have to actually do in order. You can do in pretty much any order that you like. But just you have to make sure you follow the steps correctly, or you're going to have some issues. Okay, so what you want to do next is go get the xiLoader. You can just open. Oh, lost my page there. xiLoader open and just drag it over into your Play Online folder. If I can find it here. Let me go ahead and just find that one more time here. Play Online. Okay, here, your Play Online viewer. So my xiLoader is here. So as you can, one more time, as you can see, when you open it, it will open this here. It prompted me to log in. But you don't have to actually worry about this. Again, when you open Windower, it's going to be mentioned here. You open Windower, it's going to automatically find this file here, so you don't have to worry so much about that. Okay, let's scroll down to the bottom here of this part. So the source folder, you can actually go into your config folder. Basically, what I'm saying here is, again, you don't have to do this now. You can do this later. You can go into here. So it says to go into your Darkstar source folder, which is this is the folder here. You're going to go into the config, and you have to edit these 3 files here. Let me go back up here. So make sure you have the login, the map. So login Darkstar, you have the login, and you have the map server. So you're going to open each one and make sure the password that you set up for Navicat and your MySQL workbench and the server, make sure they all correspond with each other. Another thing you want to do is when you set up Navicat, you're going to create a folder. You're going to create a connection. So basically, let me just go ahead and load Navicat. I could just do that later. Yeah, actually, it's actually here. So once it's completed, create a new connection in Navicat. So I can actually show you that now. I'm trying to make this very quick so that we don't spend too much time. If you want to go back, I will have each individual video. So this one, sorry, okay. So here, you actually don't have to worry as far as this connection here. But what you're going to want to do is create a new connection within this one. Let's see, a new connection. New connection, MySQL. Is that right? Let me see. Let's go ahead and go into the database properties. Let's try this. Connection properties. Okay, let's go ahead and open. So it goes to my Navicat here. Let's see. Okay, nothing special there. So basically, you can create this connection here, and then what I want you to do is go ahead and go to New Connection, and name. So what you're going to name this should coincide what you have. What you have here. This is not, again, this is just a backup folder, so it doesn't really matter. So you basically just make sure you have this name the same as the one here. Also with your SQL, and also with these config files you have in your. So let me give you an example here. So this is my config file here. Make sure this is my original one. Wow. Can we go to my backup here? Let's go back. This one. So config file, let's go ahead and open this one. So this one, as you see, yours should be DPS something. I can't remember exactly. So let's say so let's say when I open this, it shows. Let me try to open this one and see if it's a little bit different. Not that one is maintenance. Okay, this one. Okay, here it is. So by default, you're going to see this. So basically, you want to change this. You're going to see this here. Change this to, so I would do dark star. And you don't have to change the IP address here. There should be a local IP address regardless, in the port as well. My login ID, let's say I name it NDRA or something like that. I don't know. And the password 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. This should correspond. This should coincide with this. Also your MySQL server and all the files here. And that is pretty much it. Okay, and this, you don't have to actually do this now, but once you have this open, because it's going to be listed here later, you're going to drag everything. Let me see if that's actually next here. So create a new connection. Okay, so here's, once you create a new connection, go into your tables folder. So you're going to go into the tables folder here, and you're going to go back into your, in a separate window, you can open this one. Let's go back. And what you're going to do is go into the SQL folder, as it mentions here, and you're going to just drag, I have on a separate window here, to drag each one over one by one. It may take about 15 minutes, but once that's completed, you can go ahead and do basically a head count, make sure all the files are there. And I have to mention this again, if you don't see the table folder, you're completely fine. Sorry, triggers folder, you don't have to worry about that. That is a long-going issue, and I can still run the game without having that triggers file there. Okay, so once you dragged everything over, all the files over, so it's time to open Visual Studio 2022. So once you have this open, what you're going to do, not this one here, this is my personal file. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and go to File, Open, Project Solution, and you're going to go into, this is my copy folder, go into the Win32. Just make sure you're in the Dockstar folder and just double click this one, it will load. So what you're going to do is you're going to run, let's see. So basically, if everything is smooth, because you go first, okay, once you have everything selected, you're going to open, you go to build, and this one here. So if you have any issues here, it's going to say failed here. So just keep trying it until it actually succeeds, and then that's it. If not, I'm going to have a backup folder for you, because I know some of my old users, they actually had issues compiling the game. So what I'm going to do is upload my files here to my Google Drive. So if you actually have any issues with runtime files, I will have my exe files though. So basically, I'll have, let me just go here to not this one, SQL. Okay, so as you can see, let me just go back here to the root folder here. So here, there's no exec files here, so no runtime files here. But if I actually go back to let's open this in a new window. Let's see. Let's just try this. Sorry, open this in a separate window here. Try to compare these two. So this is again, my compile. So you see 1, 2, and 3. These are the ones we're going to need. So I actually made just a simple zip folder for the YouTubers here. So if you have any issues, you can just download this one. I don't have any viruses in my computer. If so, please complain to YouTube about it. I'm sure there are no viruses here. Okay, so these, so as you see, there's nothing here, but I can most likely drag these over and may not have any issues. I haven't actually tested it yet, but if you have any issues compiling the files, just go ahead and download mine, and you should be fine. Run a virus scan through them. I'm sure they're 0. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just drag them over into your Darkstar folder, and then you're pretty much set to go. Okay, and if you want to test it, I always recommend testing this one first, because the server connects should open promptly. Doesn't take too long to load that one. And this is going to take some time, so just go ahead and do that, and you're all set. You're all set with that. Okay, now let's go down the list here. Okay, next is Windower. So with Windower, just mention the xiLoader again. If you skip that step, just make sure you have the xiLoader there. Windower you can install pretty much anywhere, but what you're gonna have to do is just make sure these settings are there. So let me go ahead and open my folder here. Make sure mine is actually correct here, not that. Let's see, that's the location viewer. Oh, it's my program files. Can we just go ahead and go there really quick here? I mean, as you can see, it's not really that difficult to install this at all. It's pretty simple. Okay, so I actually have it here. There's a different folder, my program files. Okay, so I have my window here, my settings are here. And just make sure the same files are listed there. So the hook, this is really important. Some people have actually had issues where they install WindowWare and this file didn't actually move over and they couldn't actually get the WindowWare to run. So just make sure you have this file and this one here. So this one, you're going to just put these settings inside. Eventually, if you want, as I mentioned here, you can change this. Let's say, for example, you want to connect to your friend's private server or another person's private server. You just change the IP address there, and then once the window opens, it will basically launch. It will launch and connect to that person's, your friend's, or another private server that you want to play on, and that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm missing these steps. I just have to really stress one more time: when you install on C++, just make sure you have the development item check, so I can go ahead and just briefly show that. So here, the Visual Studio installer. So what you want to make sure you do in this when you're installing, or if you already have Visual Studio installed and you want to add the feature, you basically just wait for this to open here. You go to modify, and even if you're installing this as a new user or you're modifying, it's going to be in the same location. You just want to make sure you click this one here. That's it. And that's it. Pretty simple. Okay, I don't think I'm missing these steps there. If I missing these steps, they will be listed here. I'm just trying to go through this very quickly, make it as simple as possible. And I don't want to make it seem like it's overcomplicated to get this accomplished. But yeah, once pretty much everything is up and done, your game should run smoothly. If you have any issues, as usual, please list them in the comments, and I'll try my absolute best to guide you through those steps in order to get them resolved. Okay, we're going to go ahead and conclude the video, guys. Thanks a lot, and have a nice weekend.